Halloween is one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. It is in my top 10 horror movies of all time, and I consider it a film that everyone should see. It is the Star Wars of horror, a genre-defining movie that spawned several of the horror cliches that were so prevalent in the 80s and 90s. When people think slasher horror, they think Halloween, and many years later it is still as important. Halloween is set in Haddonfield, Illinois, and on October 31st, 1963, 6-year-old Michael Myers took a knife from his family's kitchen and killed his sister with it, stabbing her repeatedly after she had just had sex with her boyfriend. The opening 5 minutes of the movie showcases this event, all from the point of view of young Michael. POV shots are not that impressive by modern standards, but Halloween was a frontrunner for putting you in the shoes of the killer, seeing it through his eyes, especially when he puts his mask on. It was something that would naturally land the movie in a bit of bother.
Michael?
Fast forward 15 years, and on October 30th, 1978, Michael Myers escapes the hospital he has been incarcerated in since his sister's murder, using the car that was to transport him to his court hearing. There, it would have been decided that he would never be released. The next day, on October 31st, Michael Myers, now disguised in blue overalls and wearing a white mask, reappears in Haddonfield. He is there for Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, a local school student, and he begins following her around. He is seen standing outside her school window, driving past her slowly, and later in her back garden. She is naturally a little freaked out, but her friends, Annie and Linda, laugh it off.
Oh, look.
Look where?
Behind the bush.
I don't see
The
anything.
guy who drove by so fast, that one you yelled at.
Oh, subtle, isn't he? Hey, creep.
Michael's psychiatrist, Dr. Loomis, played by the excellent Donald Pleasance, figuring he would go back to Haddonfield if he escaped, goes to the cemetery of Michael's sister to find her headstone missing. He then goes to Laurie's father, the local sheriff, and is set about looking for Michael. That night, Michael's rampage begins, as he sets about murdering all of Laurie's friends before turning his attention to her. Laurie is a survivor though, and she manages to fight him off several times. Michael just won't stay down though, and even after being stabbed by Laurie, he gets up and attempts to strangle her. Thankfully, Dr. Loomis arrives and shoots Michael several times, knocking him out of an upstairs window. Even then, his body disappears. Halloween's story is simple, but oh so good. It moves at a great pace and you're always on the edge of your seat waiting for what comes next. The stalking scenes are impossibly creepy and so well done. Michael Myers doesn't speak, and the shot of him standing in a garden looking up at her is amazing. You gotta love that those particular moments are done in broad daylight, and it just helps heighten the anticipation for the upcoming nightfall. We know that is all Michael is waiting for. When the killing does start, it gets pretty brutal, but pretty light on gore. Normally this would be a complaint. The movie just didn't need it. Michael's actions and his choice of targets are enough. I really enjoyed the way they made Michael think on his feet as well, for example the ghost sheet scene. It made him seem so much more dangerous knowing he could think about his next move.
Well, did you get my beer? Cute, Bob, real cute.
As much as Michael is important to the story, the real star is Laurie Strode, played by the unknown Jamie Lee Curtis, making her Scream Queen debut. She is absolutely brilliant, conveying both the sheer terror of the situation and the bravery involved in trying to fight back and save the children trusted to her care. Many criticisms of Laurie's character relate to how she's made to look like a helpless victim throughout, and that she only survives through luck rather than determination. I don't think this is fair. The character is a shy teenager witnessing her friends being butchered by a masked madman who then turns his attention to her. She fights back the only way she knows how, by running. When she is cornered, the claws come out and she fights back. I mean, she ends up stabbing Michael in the eye with a hanger, then using his own knife on him. Perhaps it's all the screaming. It's not hard to find themes throughout Halloween. It does seem like Michael is targeting those who have sex, his sister and the babysitters. It's less of a revelation when you realise that any young couple left alone or in charge of a young child will see it as an opportunity to get it on. Laurie stands out as the Virginia-style character only because she doesn't have someone, and Michael still comes after her. It says a lot about a movie that it has this level of analysis and thought, though. Halloween's impact is so important that it has been selected for preservation in the US and is described as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Before I stop gushing about its excellence, I do have to mention the music. It is famous as the mask that Michael wears, a William Shatner mask sprayed whitish and with the eye holes widened. Throughout, the somber tones fit what your eyes are seeing perfectly, but it is the main theme that everyone remembers. Done simply on a keyboard by the director himself, John Carpenter, it is possibly the most iconic horror theme ever. That sums up the movie perfectly, I think. Iconic. There is an argument over giving any movie review a 10 out of 10. It suggests perfection, but I think that is what Halloween is. There have been 7 sequels, mostly all bad, 1 remake and a sequel to the remake, and now we're getting a brand new Halloween film. And the original strength hasn't been hurt by any of this.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.